It's been 16 years since a little film called Grindhouse first appeared that featured a slew of fake trailers like Hobo with a Shotgun.
Hobo with a shotgun. He's pissed. Tell me the goddamn passcodes!
Fresh off the success of a little film called Hostel, director Eli Roth was asked by Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez to direct the horror trailer Thanksgiving. Fast forward to today, and a feature-length version has graced us this holiday season with tons of fun callbacks and some truly gruesome kills. So in this video, we're gonna break it all down, highlight some of these differences, and see if you can guess the identity of the killer. Now make sure to like and subscribe, or else at Thanksgiving dinner you might get confronted by your politically incorrect uncle.
I said it before, and I'll say it again. Gay guys are still funnier than women.
Welcome to Plymouth, Massachusetts, an apt setting for a movie called Thanksgiving, since that's where the first Thanksgiving took place over 400 years ago. The setup for the film takes place here at Right Mart, where the promise of Black Friday sales has amassed a mob of bloodthirsty consumers on the hunt for the biggest deals. But the event turns deadly as the mob stampedes past the doors, trampling customers and killing countless others, causing Sheriff Eric Newland to fire a warning shot as the film fast forwards an entire year. The aftermath of the Right Mart tragedy saw 0 arrests and no one held accountable. But little do the townsfolk of Plymouth know is that someone has been biding their time, hell-bent on revenge for what happened. This is the ruthless killer known as John Carver. We get a brief glimpse of his lair. In the Grindhouse trailer, the killer is simply known as the Pilgrim, but the movie has fleshed this character out, making him synonymous with the real-life John Carver who became the first governor of the Plymouth colony. We can see newspaper clippings of the Right Mart tragedy saying Black Friday tragedy yields no arrests and that the deaths were deemed an accident. So it seems whoever this killer is has some sort of personal vendetta against those responsible. Now the film does a pretty good job at giving us a slew of potential suspects. There's Mitch, a guy whose wife was killed the night of the tragedy and demands justice. Ryan, our protagonist Jessica's boyfriend, who lies to the cops about what happened that night, and Bobby, Jessica's former boyfriend, who mysteriously disappears after the Right Mart tragedy. The main events of the film follow Jessica and her friends as they're both haunted and taunted by this elusive killer. As the daughter of Right Mart's owner, Thomas Wright, yes, his name is literally Wright, they were able to get into the store ahead of the mob, with a few of them even taunting the mob, goading them towards violence. Thus, these kids are on John Carver's carving list, and he's made an Instagram account laying a Thanksgiving table which he'll soon adorn with their corpses. And it doesn't take long for the killer to get to work, killing as many people involved in the Right Mart tragedy as possible. First on the killer's chopping list is Lizzie, a waitress at the local diner who pushed and shoved her way to the front of the line during the Right Mart tragedy. She'll be dunked in water and face frozen to the diner's freezer door before her body is cut in half. And there's something terribly ironic about her torso festooned above Right Mart and a sign that reads 50% off. The second is the coward security guard who ran away the night of the tragedy instead of doing his job and keeping order. He'll have his head decapitated. Now, one of the most iconic scenes from the original trailer is the cheerleader scene, where a jock is treated to a nice little show by one of the cheerleaders. I'm giving thanks this made it into the movie, where the killer completely twists the neck of the jock, who is one of the main instigators in riling up the crowd during the Right Mart tragedy. His cheerleader friend is also stabbed to death while trampolining. Yulia, one of Jess's friends, has her life cut short when John Carver stabs her ears with corn on the cob holders. It's a bit ironic since these things are supposed to go in ears of corn, but now they're literally being stabbed into ears. Her house is actually undergoing renovations, which provides the perfect opportunity for her guts to be rearranged by a nearby power saw. One of the main features of the original Thanksgiving trailer was the Thanksgiving Day parade, where a turkey mascot gets decapitated in broad daylight by the Pilgrim. This also happens in the feature, but with a twist. The killer is smart and knows the police are looking for someone dressed as John Carver. In fact, they intend to use the parade to trap the killer. But little do they know he's ditched the Carver costume for now and dresses as a clown, littering the street in smoke bombs, allowing him to incapacitate his remaining victims and prepare them for for the feast. One such victim is Kathleen, Jess's stepmom, who was complicit in deleting the security camera footage the night of the Wright Mart tragedy. We'll see the killer dicing up some veggies and readying the cranberry sauce, as Kathleen's body is prepared just like a turkey, similar to the Grindhouse trailer where the family has to eat one of their loved ones. She manages to escape this basement and runs upstairs to find the barely alive cheerleader chilling in the fridge before she's recaptured and cooked alive in an industrial oven. Now the killer has all his victims, some alive, some dead, ready for the Thanksgiving feast. But killing them isn't enough. He wants to broadcast it live for all to see, so that every Thanksgiving going forward, people will remember what they have done. The killer will even carve off a piece of cooked Kathleen, wanting her husband to eat her, but before that happens, Jessica manages to break free from her restraints and make a run for it with Carver in hot pursuit. Jessica emerges from Carver's lair, which we now see is located underneath John Carver's original Pilgrim home. She makes her way to the nearby abandoned factory where the parade floats have been stored to find an unconscious Sheriff Newland knocked out by the killer. She grabs his gun and flees inside, only to make the shocking discovery that the killer's identity is her ex-boyfriend Bobby. Or is it? Luckily, the sheriff appears and manages to scare off Bobby. Bobby had left behind his phone, which was logged into the John Carver Instagram account, the same one that broadcasted the feast. But Jess notices something odd about the sheriff. His boots. They're the same ones the killer wore, and they're covered in burrs which littered the forest near Carver's home when she escaped. Bobby isn't the killer, it's the sheriff. In fact, we'll learn that the sheriff had planned to pin all these murders on Bobby. He had Bobby drugged, put him in the John Carver costume, and rigged his phone with the John Carver account. The plan was supposed to go off without a hitch if it weren't for Jessica and Bobby escaping. Bobby hit the sheriff with a tire iron after he was drugged and put into the sheriff's trunk. That's why Jess saw the sheriff unconscious with Bobby fleeing from the scene. But why would the sheriff go through all this effort to kill all these people? What's his motivation? Turns out he was having an affair with Mitch's wife, Amanda, a woman who met a tragic end at Wright Mart when a shopping cart smashed into her head. Mitch and Amanda had plans to run off together after Thanksgiving, but with her dead, Sheriff Newland's future life with her was dashed. He therefore saw those involved as complicit in her death and wanted to enact revenge on those who put greed above the well-being of others. Thankfully, Bobby hasn't run off too far and is there to save Jess as the two make a run for his tow truck. As they flee, Jess turns on a gas-powered inflatable turkey to block the sheriff's pursuit. Unfortunately, it's not enough, as the sheriff ties the truck's tow cable around a pillar and stops their escape. He's about to finish the both of them when Jess fires this prop musket at that inflatable turkey, which had been slowly filling up with flammable gas. The place goes up in flames as Jess and Bobby narrowly escape. But when the fire department comes, they say that the heat was so intense, no body could be found. All that was left was ash. So it begs the question, did the sheriff go up in flames, leaving the terror of John Carver behind them, or is he still on the loose? The film leaves us with one final jump scare. An unknown amount of days after the final scene, Jess goes into her closet and is attacked by a flaming John Carver. It's just a dream, but shows us that even if John Carver is gone, he'll continue to haunt her till she dies. But now I turn it over to you. What did you think of Thanksgiving? I want to hear your thoughts and theories in the comments below. Thanks for watching, be sure to like and subscribe, and for more bad takes you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at ThinkStoryYT. Until next time, remember, Daddy loves you very much.